You're listening to the Visionary Lifestyle Podcast, the show that's dedicated to raising consciousness and empowering you to activate your highest potential. I'm your host, Magda Freedom Rod. Our guest today is Kevin James. Kevin James is a chant leader from Australia who has developed from years of experience the art of leading ecstatic chant and open heart connection with his voice, mantras, and heart songs. He travels the globe constantly with the intention and vision of joining with others who feel the call to reconnect to Source and remember who we are beyond the illusions of ego. His intention is to contribute to the conscious movement using group gatherings of devotional singing of mantras and heart songs to bring us to a closer connection to Source. Kevin believes from this state of being we can naturally and easily be kind and harmonious in our existence. He says, it's like a remembering. In a world where forgetting who we are has become normal, its destructive patterns have left us in an apparent life or death situation. We can remember together and support one another. So after being turned on to his amazing music during a yoga class in India, through divine grace, I connected with him in Bali and was blessed to have this time with him. As a happy surprise, Kevin mentioned the rainbow gathering during the interview, and we had a deep discussion about what it is and what happens there. By divine alignment, I'm publishing this interview from the south of France today, and tomorrow I'm on my way to a rainbow gathering in Italy, my first international gathering. And I'm so looking forward to it. And of course, I'll share with you about it when I come back. It's been a handful of years since I've been to a gathering, and the idea of being back in that loving vibration really makes my heart smile. I know there's going to be so much magic there. So I hope you enjoy this interview and find some value in the medicine that Kevin is serving up. Make sure to check out the show notes to get links to his work. And hopefully one day you can find your way to a heart song circle or retreat with him. I did make it to one of his offerings in Bali before I left, where he walked us through the chakra toning exercise he talks about in the interview. I found it to be really deep and balancing, and I urge you to download it and give it a try yourself. Find the show notes at visionary-lifestyle.com/podcast. Loving you, my rainbow warriors. Namaste. Kevin James, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
It's amazing to connect with you in Bali. We're sitting here at the Bali Spirit Festival right now, so we do have some background noise going because
the rain just started.
The rain just started right now, so we have rain as background noise.
Very good sign.
Yes. Bali is super magical. How long have you been here, spending time in Bali?
I first came here in, it was 28 years ago.
Okay.
And Ubud was very different then.
Sure.
I didn't return again until 2007, in which I had a friend living here and I heard about the festival. I think it was the second Bali Spirit. And and still have a kind of principle of only going where the doors are open. So I go where I'm invited. And I was Skyping with a friend of mine from Hawaii, and he said to me, you should go to the Bali Spirit Festival. And I said to him, well, as a matter of fact, I don't really ask to go somewhere. I just go where I'm invited.
Wait for the invitation.
Yeah. Rather than say waiting for the invitation, like if I get invited, I give everything to that, and that's my direction. That's the door that opened for me. And but I said if I was going to ask anyone, it would be that festival, because I want to go to Bali anyway, and it seems amazing. And he said, well, why don't you ask Rob? He's right behind me right now. And so I was having a conversation with Rob, and he said he said he'd like me to come, and so I did.
Beautiful.
And the connections I made from there brought invitations to Taiwan, Japan, and Malaysia, and then later on Europe and places like that.
Yeah, so it started here and you expanded out.
It was my first trip away from Australia as a musician.
Oh, and many doors and many invitations came
From there, yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I can see Bali being like this, it is this fertile land, right? Just like ripe with opportunity. That's what I'm feeling. Just being here a few days now, and the culture is so rich, and the prana, the life force, is so strong here. I think this rain and this lushness, has a lot to do with that. So I'd love to get into your work. Mantra and kirtan and heart song is what you're all about, right? That's your expression of love to the world. I discovered your music in a yoga class at the International Yoga Festival, and your voice came on with the Asatoma mantra, which I had just been learning in India, and it was such a profound moment for me. And looked you up, and I mean, it's just so divinely orchestrated that we're sitting here now, because it was just this morning that I finally found your website, and you're in Bali. Like I had no clue you were in Bali. So I love the divinity in action here. So your work is so powerful, and I'd like to go back and start with the quote I read on your website about your mother and what she said to you when you came home from a protest. Can you tell that little story, please?
Yeah. Yeah, I was in my early 20s, and I was doing what all good hippies do, and protesting the forest getting chopped down, which I encourage people to do. But I got a bit beaten up by the loggers. They were very unhappy about me being there.
Sure.
And I got dragged through the mud. I wasn't really that hurt, but when I came home, my mum said, "What have you been doing?" And I'm like, "Trying to, I was saving the forest." And she said, "Yeah, but look at you, it doesn't look very harmonious what's happened." And I said, "Yeah, well, I'm trying to make the world a better place." And she said, "Well, if you want to make positive change in the world, just do something so beautiful that other people want to be a part of it." And when she said that, I never forgot it.
And that's what you've done.
Yeah, and as I started to go on my own journey of self-discovery, I started to, I suppose, inherit a bit more of a perspective of non-separation. And so that she basically said, "Why are you fighting the mirror?" That was her first words. And so to come from that place of separation, which is what they were doing, in trying to kind of stop me from protesting, but I was also coming from this place of separation, and that's where the war is reflected. That is also inside of ourselves. When we call ourselves a greenie or a logger or a Hindu or a Christian or a Muslim or an Australian or an American or whatever. And so
we're creating separation by that identification.
Yeah, and so I wanted to come from a place of unity and non-duality. And so I realized that philosophy works in that respect. I always use the analogy of, imagine a schoolyard and everyone's bullying, and trying to get something, but then if you just go over here and create something beautiful, then people come and join you and it becomes the next cool thing to do, and they're just left on their own. And I sort of feel like with all the stuff that's happening in the world, let's not waste too much of our energy, especially if things that are out of our field of influence, if we can't actually do anything about it. There is something we can do, and that's create beauty. And I just have had such a great response because people love it. And what I find is that, and what I believe is that, it brings us into a state of connectedness within ourselves, and we get in touch with our heart, and we get in touch with that sense of family and oneness when we're chanting, that sort of automatically turns us into a more harmonious way of being with ourselves, and then also with our friends, our family. Our choices reflect that harmonious state of being. So I realized that, well, I can actually make a difference in the world, not by coming from any point of separation that you need to change, or I can help you, or that I have the answer or anything. Is just helping people to find that place within themselves that is harmonious, that does care, that is loving and kind, and we all have it inside of us.
Yeah.
And the more separate we become, the more dysfunctional and more unharmonious we become.
Yeah. So what you're doing with your work is essentially activating the harmony vibration,
Yeah, I think so.
right? Connecting us to that that already exists, right? But helping to reconnect us to it.
Exactly, that's the word, reconnection.
Yeah, because it's not finding something, it's not discovering something, it's just uncovering almost, right?
Yeah.
Or reconnecting, I guess, is maybe the best word.
Yeah, and because essentially we all want it, because it's us, it is our nature, it's where we come from.
Yeah.
I find in a room it's actually easier than you think to achieve that, because it's inherent within every human being anyway. So there's an art to bringing that out in a group, and that's what I have honed over the, I think it's about 2 decades now that I've been doing this.
Yeah. So tell us more about what the experience is. It's heart song is.
It's one of the labels I use, but
So what is a heart song? Let's start
well,
there.
a song from the heart to the heart.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's my way of straying away from words like kirtan.
Okay.
Mainly because I'm not a Hindu, and Sanskrit is not my language.
Wow, that's thunder. It's a lot of thunder.
That's the gods saying they agree with me.
Perfect.
But then I do see Sanskrit as the mother tongue. I mean, as far as I know, there's no older language, written language that we have, and it's a powerful language, and the mantras are incredibly powerful, and I love to chant them, and I love to also chant all my interpretations.
Yeah, which I really appreciate, because I've talked about this in previous interviews, and this is my experience, that I was resisting chanting for a long time personally in yoga classes, and I'd go to a Kundalini class and they'd be chanting, and I was really uncomfortable with it because I didn't understand what they were saying and nobody was translating it. So I felt awkward, like, what am I invoking? What am I affirming? Like, I'm not comfortable with this. And I finally kind of broke through that at Bhakti Fest, listening to a late night Jayutal, Hare Krishna ongoing, kirtan, ecstatic kirtan moment. I kind of said, doesn't matter what I'm saying, it feels so good. But I appreciate that you do that, and I think that's what really appealed to me when I heard your song, because there was the chant that had been really coming to me like full force around every corner I turned in India. There was this chant, and I wasn't familiar with it before this trip. And then there you were with your interpretation, your translation of it in English, and I was just like, I love this. I want this, and I want to use your music to teach, in my yoga classes as well as a soundtrack. I think it's so powerful. So, how did you find mantra, or how did mantra find you?
There's one specific moment I recall. I was at a rainbow gathering in Australia.
Yes.
Year 2000.
Perfect.
And it was a huge tribal gathering.
Yeah, I've been to the
there was
national
2,000
ones in the
people
United
there.
States. Okay.
And I was watching Fantuzzi give a concert.
Yeah.
And I was there with my family and friends, and I just heard something, like literally just a little whisper in my ear, and it was like nectar, and I just walked in, like mesmerized, following the sound. Just left everybody, just walked away, and I came across this circle of people, about 20 people, singing Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam. When I heard that, it was like coming home. I mean,
You got reconnected.
I loved it. I loved the sound of that song. It's like I knew it.
Yeah. The vibration resonated, huh? Yeah.
And I just felt to myself like I have to have more of this. What is it, you know? And there was a friend of mine a friend of mine that was connected to one of the people who was singing at the Rainbow Gathering, and I was a musician, so I said, you know, can you teach me a song? Like, I need to learn one of these mantras, and he taught me a song.
Right there at the Rainbow Gathering?
Yeah.
This is so auspicious with this weather that just started. It's been sunny all day. I love this. I know Fentuzi, and I can totally imagine that scenario. I'll have to tell him about this conversation next time I cross paths with him. I love this. This is, you know, one of my goals with this podcast is it's like a clarion call to the Rainbow Warriors. So I'm so glad the Rainbow Gathering is coming up in this conversation.
Yeah, it's the roots of my music comes from the Rainbow Gathering.
Really? Talk more about that.
Well, from that gathering, I was also very moved by the gathering, and I was living in North Queensland, so the gathering was in Byron Bay, which is where I eventually lived, but at that time I was living in the far north. So I spent 10 years of my life unplugged. You might have read that in my...
I didn't catch that
Okay, yeah.
detail.
So I had 10 years just...
Off the grid.
Off the grid. No newspapers, no radio, no TV, no music either. I wasn't listening to the radio. We didn't.
You were playing music though?
Yes,
okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. But I came out. I was unaware of who was. I discovered Michael Franti and different artists that everyone knew. You know, but I came out of that to the Rainbow Gathering, out of that world, and then I sort of decided that. I went to the seed camp and I said, we want to do one up north, and so nice. I'm standing up to facilitate that, and
nice.
And so I did, and found a place, and miracles happened. It was incredible, and we did beautiful gatherings up there, and I kind of like became really involved and really fell in love with the rainbow and what it represented. And
can you just briefly explain that for those who are not familiar with the Rainbow Gathering? What does it represent for you?
Well, its essence is all colors, all creeds, all religions. Everybody welcome to come together and share, but to share in nature and to let go of all of our attachments to electronic devices, cars, houses, all that sort of stuff, and go back to the simple, and also money. So the only money that's used is you can donate in a magic hat, which is goes around the circle. There's no one watching. You can put your hand in there and no one looks if there's anything in it.
Yeah.
And it's all done in happiness, and everybody eats together, and it's totally chaotic, and it attracts a lot of crazy people, and there's a lot of pot smokers. But I set about my ambition was to improve the name of it in Australia, because it did have a name for that. And I think that is how to say it. It's kind of like whenever you create a space where all are welcome, and there's an element of freedom, you do attract the crazies. You do attract the homeless people. You do attract the people that want to do the odd things that society don't accept. And that's when society points the finger and says, yeah, look what happens when you have freedom. But actually, what happens is that those people are accepted.
Right.
And when you look within there, there's good things happening. There's circles, there's a lot of creativity, and it's wrong to say that when there's freedom that it just becomes a free-for-all and there's drugs and chaos. It's just that the chaos and drugs that already exist in a dysfunctional society are naturally drawn to that. And that's where I started to feel that my work didn't need to be limited to the rainbow, that I needed to actually see that there was no real rainbow gathering line that says this is where it starts and this is where it ends, and that the world was a rainbow gathering gone nuts. It has the same politics happening anyway, and the same kind of things happening in a more spiritual way quite often, but people need to reconnect.
Right. It's a good place to reconnect and to connect with like-minded people who are on a similar path and who care about the planet.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what fills my heart when I go to a rainbow gathering is, it is all types of people. It is the rainbow personified, really. And but the common denominator is everybody there is really caring about the planet and wants to make the world a better place. And it's such an uplifting, space to be in because of that. And the shared meals and the huge kitchens and just seeing how people work with the earth and, build massive kitchens into the side of the mountain and things like this. Nature is just totally with us right now. This is great.
And every rainbow gathering is different. And it's very important to have a core group that really can hold the space. And I learned from my experiences that it grows out from a seed, so that if you and I were facilitating a gathering, it's actually our connection would be reflected out because the people that would be helping us would be affected by our energy. And that's what I started to realize. I can take that, what I learned there, and bring it into the circle and take that anywhere I go. And so in a way I'm spreading the rainbow magic with these circles that I'm doing. And that's why I really enforced that we maintain a circle.
Yeah.
And so it's really, really beautiful to see that sort of circle, the altar on the floor, sitting around. You can see in all my pictures.
Right, I've looked. Is it always a heart altar in the center?
Mostly,
sometimes
because
it's a circle or a heart, but you make an altar. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about your events and your heart song circles. So I love that I'm with the circle vibration too. When I teach yoga, I always want to be in a circle, and if I have to line mats up, like in a grid, I'm very uncomfortable with it. It's all about the ceremony and the circular energy, right? So I love that that's how you're doing it. And I did see some pictures maybe on your Facebook page of just, I don't know, maybe it's like 100 people out from the center. I mean, huge gatherings you're having, right? So in the center you have an altar, which is beautiful, with candles and flowers and different things, right? And then you're playing. Tell us more about what the experience is.
Well, the musicians, I also ask the musicians to be part of that circle. And so we're holding hands with the guests or the other people participating. But I really want to create this sense of family, of equality, of community, of people coming together to sing. The circle means that there's not this line of everyone just looking at me, because I don't want it to be about me. For me, that's humiliating. I'm there to serve the group. I'm there to give the music back to them, the music experience, to jam with them, and to hold space and support the energy to rise, the group energy to rise up. And it's almost like, if you could imagine, I light a candle and then you light off that candle, and then the next person lights off that candle.
That's a great analogy.
So, I sort of connect with the people around me in the circle, and then because it's a circle, they're meeting eyes with other people, and the flames of love start to ignite. And then if you get enough candles going together, what can happen and does happen.
We're having lightning flashing when you're talking about the fire of love igniting.
My intention is to support and really promote that flame to become one.
Yeah, nurture
and so
it.
what happens then is all the candles actually join together and it's one flame. And that's where at the end of the chant there's silence. And even the crickets are silent then. The children become silent.
Yeah, just that peaceful energy, that harmony.
And that's when we commune with our own inner guru. And each person's forgiving the past, they're healing, they're receiving their own inner light, wisdom. Their prayers are really powerful. I don't really like to interfere with that much.
So you're singing and you're playing instruments, right? And you have several musicians with you, accompanying you.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. And is it call and response like kirtan, or are you all singing together?
Mainly all singing together, yeah.
So you kind of teach them and get it started, and then everyone joins in?
Yeah. I sing very simple songs. I used to put words up on a screen, but I found it distract people. People would sort of hide in the screen. They'd hide. Or if it's a book, that even though the words might be just La ilaha illallah, that's it. There's still the whole chant be looking down there and not engaging.
Yeah.
So I just went, no books, no screen.
Yeah. Stay present and available to connect with other souls in the gathering.
Yeah. And if you can't get the words right, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Make something up.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
Well,
not for me. I
Right.
mean, it is for some traditionalists. You've got to pronounce things right. But for me, it's more about that. It's about people connecting, singing together, having a great time, having fun, and not being too serious.
Yeah, make it fun. I love...
Sometimes even crazy.
Sometimes even crazy?
Yeah.
Oh, I really need to come to one of your events. So you lead heart song circles. You're touring all over the place, right? And you lead retreats where it's like intensives over many days, or where can people experience this magic that you're offering?
Well, it's kind of random. I'm not doing too many regular retreats. I've done the Ladakh journey 3 years in a row.
That's northern India?
Yeah. I'm doing that in 2018, in July, August. That's amazing. We have a strong emphasis on Buddhism there. So a lot of Buddhist mantras and meeting the Buddhist culture there, going up to the temple and the gompas. And we've been doing sailing in the Greek islands. That's just sort of like an amazing kind
That sounds yummy.
Yeah, it's extremely beautiful.
Sure.
Extremely beautiful, peaceful.
So on a boat?
Yeah.
What?
So
that sounds pretty epic. I might have to go to that one.
What I have done is I've realized that the chanting can transform us and connect us. But then when we go back to our daily life, it doesn't take long, maybe 1, 2, 3 days, and it rubs off us, and we're back into that mainstream consciousness. And so I've kind of looked at, okay, well, what else does that for us? Well, yoga does that for a lot of people. Dancing does that for a lot of people, but also powerful, amazing places. That's why people who go to Ladakh go there, because it's inspiring and you know, it's an adventure, and it brings you back to yourself through that. So if you incorporate chanting with that, that's really powerful. So I'm using the environment to support my work of helping people to reconnect, but also when you keep chanting, so we do it every day, and so what that does is it really connects us as a group, and we become like a family, but also we connect to nature. So your traveling experience is completely different, because from a connected state, you're connected to everything. So the weather, the synchronicities, the happenings, like, you know, when you come to Bali and you feel really connected, and you know, you meet the family here, and you know, it's kind of everything starts opening up. Yeah, you tap into that vortex that's already being held here.
Right.
So we sort of create that in those places. This year we're going to a place called Maritimo, which is a quiet island that's kind of protected their culture and their town from tourism. And they don't want tourists to come there because they've seen what happens in some of the other islands. And but there's a bit of a slump in the economy, and you know, the younger people are leaving town. And I was kind of asked by a local lady, like, would you come and bring a new kind of tourism that is good for us, that, you know, that doesn't have the same demands as commercial tourism.
Exploit.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So I said, well, all right, we'll create a festival and I'll do a retreat. So basically found a hotel, and you know, I'm just booking the rooms for people who come, and I have a small charge for what I offer, which is 2 sessions a day. And then we just have a holiday.
So when is this?
This is in July.
Okay.
July. Maritimo holiday.
What country is that?
It's Sicily. It's Italy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the Mediterranean. It's a nature island. So it's extremely beautiful, and there's incredible diving, and the water's amazing. The Mediterranean crystal clear water. The food there is incredible.
Sure.
Yeah. So
maybe I'll be at that one too.
it's a different type of travel. And it's been amazing to be in a group of, like in Ladakh, 20 people who are all really, really connected like a family. You know, the decisions we make are unanimous so easily. You know, everyone's kind to each other. Everyone goes through their own healing, but the group supports them. And
how long are these retreats that you're doing?
Different times. Ladakh we did for two weeks.
Oh.
In 2018 we're doing two week. Some people want to stay longer. And I do a morning practice session, which is toning through the chakras, and an Om meditation that I lead, that is kind of opening up the Om into a kind of active meditation that has come to me through practicing Om, just by Omming.
Wow.
And it's really, really powerful. It sort of increases the consciousness, the vibration of the Om, sending that through the spine. So you start to be able to cleanse your mind. So
with the vibration of the Om.
Yeah, it's almost like turning a light on, and then I encourage people to deal with their thoughts. So not to turn away from our thoughts, but to actually have an inquiring mind, to look at the thoughts, try to understand them, and then liberate them with perfection. In other words, it will be perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Acceptance.
It is perfect.
Yeah. Non-resistance. Yeah. And toning through the chakras, how long is that? How long does that whole process take? That sounds incredible.
I can go with the Omming. meditation, my personal practice, I love to do an hour of that, but I usually depends on the group. That's been the most powerful thing for me. Had incredible experiences myself, but it takes a lot of concentration, and not everybody's able to do that. So it's very easy to be distracted, because it does require you to take responsibility to actually go in and
do the work. Yeah.
If you are used to being continually thinking and sort of looking out there, it's not easy. But the toning, generally, an hour and a half or something like that.
So I don't suppose that's the sort of thing that can be shared in any other way than live, right? I mean, do you have an album for this or anything? I mean, I'm so called to that.
I do have something on my website that I call the morning practice, and it is just a live recording from the session.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So that's available on your website.
It's available, yeah.
Okay, we'll make sure to link to that in the show notes. I teach a lot about the chakras, and I'm so interested in anything that can help us balance, cleanse, harmonize the chakra system. It's just such a great tool for people.
I link the chakras with the emotional body, and what I do is, because voice is so connected to emotion, I get people to sing with emotion, focusing your awareness on those points, and then when you can express feeling in your voice and actually use your body and allow yourself to be vulnerable and not controlling your voice. In other words, just singing what sounds good, but actually having the faith to allow a feeling, a sound, a feeling expression in sound to come out. Then when you tap into that feeling, what I do is I encourage people to, when you start to feel it, go in, follow it in. So you're expressing out, but you're following it in. And you can actually tap into bliss, which is the source. So the way I see it is that just as light will hit a crystal and naturally form into the harmonious color arrangement that we call a rainbow, it's always the same. So there's some rules there that are abided by, and it never changes. Now music follows those same rules. It is the same pattern, but it's in sound, and also the chakras follow that same rules. So what I see is that feeling divides into the 12 chakras, but its source is as in light, it's pure bliss. And then it goes into what we call love and peace and wisdom, joy. I haven't gone through I'm not the one to say which is what. What I do ask people is to just allow yourself to discover that yourself, feel it. I'm not here to plant seeds of belief in anybody, but I know that for myself that I've tapped into bliss that way. And if you have that experience, if you can source bliss within yourself, this is the beginning of understanding that you can actually be in control of your own emotions. And when you understand that, then you become less dependent on the so-called external world for stimulating that within yourself. You start to realize you can call upon that.
It's within you.
Yeah, it's not only within you, but you have access to it. It's just you have to take responsibility and actually do it. And the only way you can do that is to share it, because it only comes through us, just like light shines through the crystal.
Yeah.
And so I look at what's blocking me, and that is usually reflected in my voice. So I help people to let go. And so we tone.
All 12? You're toning 12 chakras, or the 7 in this practice?
I do scales of 7, or sometimes.
Because there are thousands of chakras, technically.
Yeah.
So.
it just repeats itself though. But it's the same. It's the same 12 and 7. So there's 12 colors of the rainbow. There's 7 major,
Right.
7 minor, and then there's other arrangements. Just as in music, there's 12 major. There's 12 major notes. There's 7 within a scale. So there's 12 months of a year. There's 7 days a week. There's 12 star signs. It goes on and on and on, reflecting the same law.
This is great. The rain is pouring down. I hope that you can hear us well through the thunder and lightning and rainstorm that we're witnessing right now. This is a beautiful conversation. I had no idea we were going to end up talking about rainbows and chakras. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm so passionate about it because it's my daily practice. When people join me on the retreats, or I do also share it here in Byron. I mean in Bali. I just say this isn't something I was taught. This isn't something that I've read about. It's something that just came from practicing and sharing. So I started sharing and I started learning through the sharing. And I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm just sharing. This is what I do for myself. You're welcome to join me. You're also welcome to leave.
Yeah.
And don't try and believe me. And if you think I'm saying something that's conflicting with something else, tell me, and I'll
take what works and leave the rest.
Yeah, I'm also open to listening, and I'm not. But there is something that really resonates with people when they hear about this, because it kind of connects sound with light. Because when we see beauty, we're seeing that same law of music reflected in color, and then you have emotion, and then the spirit, I think, all follows that same law.
Yeah, well, I'm obsessed with rainbows. Like, all my yoga students know if they see a rainbow, everybody texts me a picture and tells me where it is, so I don't miss it, because I've missed some big rainbows.
It's harmony.
It's a reflection of us, right? It's the chakras. It's like it's us. It's a reflection of us, and yes, it's harmony. I hadn't thought about it as harmony, but I'm super obsessed with rainbows, and I'm a big fan of the Rainbow Gathering. So this is a real treat to drop into this space with you.
I'm always. I'm never sure when I drop the Rainbow Gathering.
If it's going to be well received.
Or even known about, because it's not that common knowledge, but it's a beautiful thing.
I want more people to know about it. I want more people to get into the vibration of the rainbow, and the Hopi prophecy is something that I try to bring awareness to. All the colors and creeds and colors of the rainbow coming together to make the earth green again. When the animals are dying and everything's dying, it's like that's now, and we're really needed now. It's our time. So I really want to encourage people into that vibration any way I can. I'm wondering, do you have a favorite mantra? Can you pick one, I guess, or a few favorites? Or, there's so many. You're doing Buddhist, right? Buddhist and Hindu mantras?
Yeah. I've never been one for favorites. But the Gayatri mantra, Shiva, I used the Shiva chant to bring my daughter to me from a really desperate situation where I was in Bali and she was in Australia, and it was every father's nightmare. And I chanted all day, and she came.
Wow.
She came to me, and she stayed with me for 3 years. From the age of 16, 17, 18, no. She was 17, she stayed with me 18, 19, and 20. Traveling the world, immersed in mantras and
how beautiful.
From a quite a scary situation. and then to see the transformation. I mean, and my whole kind of network watched the transformation in her, and yeah, it was a really beautiful story. And then it came to the time where, you know, we knew that we couldn't be the father-daughter thing for various reasons. But it was never because we didn't love each other's company. We never fought. We had a dream together. But you know, there also wasn't space for anyone else. It was because we were so close.
Oh.
Everybody thought they didn't know us, that I had a very young girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's funny now because my girlfriend is quite young, and people say, "Is that your daughter?"
Where is your daughter now?
She's in Byron Bay. She went back home, made new friends, and started a electronic music course.
Oh.
Yeah, she's got a motorbike license. And she literally dropped out of school and came with me, and she said, "You know, Dad, I have nothing. I don't have a license. I don't have any money. I don't have any sort of solid friends. I mean, she knows people all over the planet. She knows a lot of really great musicians too. So she's supported by so many people, and I think choosing electronic music, she wants to do mantras and chilled out mantra music, and she's got a network of great musicians all over the planet, so she's going to draw on that. And
that'll be fun to see what she creates and expresses.
Yeah, she's got very good taste.
Yeah. And a great teacher in you, and a great role model in you. How beautiful. So that mantra, chanting that mantra, brought her
that
to
brought
you.
her, so that's definitely
Saw the magic of that. Yeah.
one of my favorites. And then the Gayatri mantra. Just recently, I was faced with a big decision where somebody came to one of the circles just recently, and he happens to be very wealthy, and he's also an internet marketing whiz, kind of somebody who can and has started up many different companies. And so he wanted to meet me and do something with my music, and you know, I've nurtured the music with a sense of community and connection and family, and a lot of, and then in the beginning it was, I didn't even ask for any donations or anything, and then as time went on, I needed to receive donations so that I could
continue.
Yeah, and record music and fly, but I've always wanted to keep it reasonable, and you know, and still keeping that concept of just feeding the movement, connecting communities, and supporting conscious growth within that. And then now there's someone who says, I want to take this to the mainstream, and I had to make a decision, like, I literally have to give it all away.
Is that the right direction or not?
And I did a puja, Agnihotra ceremony, a very powerful one with the Balinese people, and we sung the Gayatri mantra, and when we were singing it, my inner voice spoke very clearly, like basically saying, you can live this mantra and you don't need anything else. And that's when I decided that I would just give. I would not hang on to anything. And the world can use me. And I'll hold that mantra, which is all of the darkness of this human life let it be enlightened by the light that I am. The sun, the moon, the universe. I bow down to the essence, and I serve that intention, and what that brings, I think that's the most important thing to me anyway, when I really look into my heart, because I know that that's the only thing that's going to bring us back to that harmony again, that we need to connect to the source. And if I can help in some way, if I can get my message out there, then I will. I will, even if some may disagree, some may not like the direction I'm taking. I may not be able to do things the way I could do it before. I may have to water down my message in some ways. I don't care.
But you're showing up in willingness to be the catalyst to help people find that point of connection within themselves, reconnecting with Source.
And perhaps there's many people that aren't ever going to come to Bali, that aren't ever going to be in Byron Bay or in California. And I mean, you know, in the alternative circles where I've been dwelling. And I realized in all of my traveling, especially when I've been in countries like Japan, where there's not really much of an alternative scene there, is that consciousness doesn't limit itself to the clothes you wear, or whether or not you move in certain circles, or whether or not you chant mantras, or a vegetarian, or anything. It can rise up in anybody. And you know, I was one of those people that never got exposed to this, and I was in the mainstream. I didn't have hippie parents, and the moment I heard that, I was drawn to it, and maybe I need to be a bit more accessible.
Sure. Well, you got yourself to a rainbow gathering one way or another, and that sparked all of this. So, Shy Rainbow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Anything else you want people to know before we close this out? What do people need to know about the power of mantra?
Well, mantra is like a beautiful picture. When you see a serene, absolutely divine painting or artwork or art piece, mantra is that. It's beauty in emotion. So sound and emotion are very, very closely linked. If I feel any emotion to the extreme, I'm going to make a sound. And that's why these sacred sounds of mantra are emotional harmony. And so you can plant that seed by singing it, or listening to it, or being around it. So I recommend to people just to listen. And if you need to know, you can find out the translations. I like to look beyond the basic Hindu translations and look at the deeper meanings, because they're there. They mask, a lot of wisdom is masked in stories so that children can learn them, and then as they get older and they start to understand the deeper meanings. So a lot of those Hindu stories are actually stories about us.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your precious little time here with me today. You know, only here for a few hours, I know, and I'm really grateful that you carved out the time to have this conversation with me, and I know that everyone who's listened will really benefit from it. And thank you for delivering your gifts the way that you do. And I'm really looking forward to experiencing one of your heart song circles as soon as possible.
Yeah, I hope to share with you sometime. And course, any of the listeners, I hope to get a chance to
Yeah.
share that. I also encourage people to find their own, lead their own circles and gather together and learn some songs. And I have songbooks available too on my website
Great.
of all my songs. So, you know, you can listen to the songs, but you can also play them if you have a guitar. And
Oh, beautiful.
yeah, and
empowering people
they're very
to
simple.
share it.
Yeah.
Kevin
together
James
and sing.
HeartSongs.
Yeah,
.com.
Kevin James HeartSongs or Kevin James Carroll. Yeah,
Okay.
very easy to find.
And we'll link to all of it in the show notes so everybody can find it. All right. Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks so much for answering the call to be here today. I'm so glad you're part of our tribe of activated rainbow warriors. If you found the show in any way empowering or inspiring, I would be so grateful if you would share the show on social media or with friends and family that you think would benefit from these conversations. And also, rate and review the show in iTunes. This is really the very best way to help support the show and help us get noticed by others who are looking for the sort of content that we're sharing. Now notice there are no outside ads playing here. That's because the show is supported by you, the listener. You can become a patron of the show with a small monthly donation by checking out the perks on our Patreon page at patreon.com/visionary lifestyle and signing up there. There's also a one-time donation button on the podcast page of the website if that suits you better. And just so you know, your donations help to cover the necessary out-of-pocket monthly expenses to produce the show and will also help us grow so we can inspire and educate even more people. And hey tribe, I'd love to hear from you. Visit me at visionary-lifestyle.com and please tell me your comments and questions. I really look forward to connecting with you. I love you. Namaste.